Now, most lads think staying lean year round is impossible, when in reality, it is a very, very easy. Yeah, and a lot of people just do it all wrong. And it's because of their diet. It's because they keep failing their diet. They keep doing these aggressive bulks and then just doing these crazy cuts. And it's this constant yo-yo effect, and you never end up looking good. And you never stay lean either. Alright, I'm going to break down how to stay lean year round. Firstly, a lot of people, like I say, will say it is impossible. But the reason why most people fail their diet is because they do these crazy bulks and then they do these ridiculous cuts on the lead up to their summer holiday or whatever. You know, these phases. When in reality, fitness isn't a phase. Alright, it is a lifestyle. You want to be looking good all year round. I don't care what anyone says. You should not be going above 12% body fat all year round. Yeah, you want to be staying around roughly around that 8 to 10% body fat range year round. Because once you go above 12, you just start to look a bit fluffy. You start to get very demotivated. You know, your face starts getting a bit more bloated and you just look terrible. I'm just being honest. You want to look good all year round. But so many people will tell you need to bulk. You need to put on all this size. When in reality, people think they're putting on a lot more muscle than they actually are. Yeah, they're eating these ridiculous amount of calories. And you're just putting on fat and water. And you just look terrible. Alright, you just look terrible. So you do these ridiculous bulks. And then you do these insane cuts and you just end up losing all the muscle and you just end up looking the same year after year. It's a constant yo-yo effect. And that was me for ages. I do these crazy bulks, you know, getting up to these, just looking horrible, like a water balloon. And then I do these ridiculous cuts. And the problem is when you do these crazy, crazy cuts, you know, cutting your calories low, you're doing endless amounts of cardio, you will hit a point where you've gone too far and you can't go any further and you haven't lost enough body fat and you've just fucked your body up. Yeah, you've just fucked your body up completely because you want it to be a very, very slow process. I know that's what not many people want to hear, but you need it to be a slow process. So if you're looking to obviously go into a gaining phase, ideally you want to be 8 to 10% body fat anyways before even thinking about going into a bulking phase. But if you're cutting back and you want to get shredded for a holiday, you shouldn't cut calories ridiculously. Like, this is what people do. They slash the calories ridiculously low, they up the cardio, and you will hit a point, your body will adapt. And once your body adapts, it can't get any further. You need to look at it like a lemon. Yeah, you want to be just slow. Well, you want to give it a good amount of food to begin with and then slowly, gradually decrease the food and then up the cardio where it's needed. Yeah, not just doing this crazy amount of cardio, which is what I used to do. I used to do this crazy, get on the Stairmaster an hour after my workouts, and I started losing so much muscle and I just end up looking terrible. You end up looking skinny fat. Yeah, and that is not a look you want. Alright, so you do this crazy amount of cardio, you get mentally fatigued, and you usually end up binge eating because you've deprived yourself that much. I remember me, when I was doing these cuts for these holidays, I just end up raiding the cupboards. Alright, I think I once had a whole box of Weetabix and like a kilo of porridge all in one sitting. And I felt terrible after. You end up binge eating to the max because you're just depriving yourself. Yeah, it's the same with bulking. Bulking, like stuffing your face with all this shit and you're just going to look like shit. And it's not a good look. And it's the reason people fail, because they do heavy bulks and then aggressive cuts. Heavy bulks, aggressive cuts. When you're bulking, you should only be eating a little amount of food to boost your performance in the gym. Yeah, you're not eating food to gain shitloads of weight a week. That is not the aim. I remember I was trying to push like 90 kilos or whatever for my height, and you're just putting fat upon fat, and that is not what you want. Now, if you are looking to get as lean as possible, just looking like an absolute machine on a daily basis, yeah, not letting it be some sort of phase, letting it become a lifestyle, you can message me the words lean over on my Insta, DM me the words lean, and I will get back to you. But these are the nutrition rules that you want to be following when entering, obviously, a shredding phase. Yeah, because I guarantee you, majority of you watching this video are not sub 10% body fat, and you need to be sub 10% body fat before even entering a performance phase. All right, number one, you want to keep your protein as high as possible during this, obviously, this cutting phase. Yeah, and that is one thing I never used to do. I remember when I was cutting for holidays, I used to eat like watermelon and spinach, like a spastic, maybe the odd egg whites here, but I reckon I was eating below 100 grams of protein, and I just wasted away. All right, like I say, you want to keep your protein as high as possible, so you want to keep it about one to 1.5 grams per pound body weight, somewhere around there, 1.2. You know, that's a good marker to have, and just keep your protein the same throughout the diet phase. You also want to keep your carbs as high as you possibly can. Obviously, you're going to be pulling food. Like I say, work out your maintenance. Give yourself enough food to begin with before you start pulling. Don't go into some sort of aggressive 1,000 calorie deficit, which is what I used to do. Like just eating like 1,300 calories some day. Like, there's no structure. All right, you need to have structure. You need to be strategic with this. Like I say, you want to be pulling calories a little bit at a time. Obviously, when your body starts to adapt. Like I say, the long game is the short game. All right, the long game is the short game. So many people want results quick, but trust me, doing these insane aggressive cuts, it's never going to work out well. All right, it never does. So obviously you want to keep your carbs as high as possible during this phase to ensure your performance don't dip. I remember me, I just cut carbs like because I thought carbs were the enemy. You know, you see it all online, carbs are the enemy. No, they're gonna fuel that. You know, you're gonna use it as energy for your performance in the gym. You also want to keep your fats as high as you possibly can. I like to aim. I don't like to go below 40 grams of fat, but I like to keep it around 50 grams of fat. For me personally, but you know, just for hormones and to ensure, yeah, you're not crashing completely. Now, once you get as lean as possible, once you get down to that 8-10% body fat range, it is very easy to maintain from there. But what I would recommend is just eating the same meals on repeat. And I know I say this all the time, but it might seem boring to many, but trust me, it removes that decision fatigue. You have structure to your day. Yeah, you're eating the food you like on a daily basis. It doesn't feel like you're not having to scan the back of packets anymore, do all this like obsession over food. You've got there. Yeah, if you do the reverse phase correctly, you've got there. And you're just maintaining that. You're cruising that year round. You're eating the same food. You're eating foods that you actually like year round. And you're feeling good. You're feeling like a machine. And you're looking good. All right, and like I say, from there, you just want to be, you know, if you're looking to put on size, obviously you want to gradually then go into a slight surplus, you know, 200 to 300 calories, watching the scale go up. You don't really want it going above 0.2 to 0.5 kilos a week. Any more than that, you're most likely gaining fat. But yeah, you want it to be a very slow process. You just want to be gaining tissue. You don't want to be gaining fat. You're using that extra food to fuel you through performance, yeah, in the gym. And that brings me on to training style. So many people are doing this junk volume, unnecessary amount of sets, unnecessary amount of reps. You want to keep it moderate and you want to keep it consistent. Also, cardio. I've tried the whole hybrid training. I've tried the whole high intensity workouts. Yeah, the hits, just the endless amount of cardio. It just really doesn't work, especially if you're looking to put on size and just not feel mentally fatigued throughout the day. Not having these crashes from all the carbs. Like I said, I've done hybrid and just eating endless amounts of carbs, 400 plus grams of carbs a day, 500 grams of carb. Like, it's just too much for me. It was just me personally. I like to keep my cardio quite light. I like to keep it less cardio now. again, if you do like running, keep running in, but just keep it at a minimal. All right, don't be doing this crazy amount of cardio. It really isn't necessary, and it's just gonna fatigue you completely. Now, in terms of cardio, like I say, you want to keep listening, but you just want to let this be a lifestyle. All right, you want to let the gym is not a place where you go for 2 to 3 hours, just kill your body day after day. You're just going there to chase aesthetics. You're going there to look fucking good with your top off. All right, and you want this to be a lifestyle. So you want to keep your steps in there. You want to manage your sleep well. Yeah, prioritize your sleep. It's very important. Your recovery, your stress management, and just let this become a lifestyle, not a phase. All right, and trust me, you will be able to stay lean year round. But it all just needs structure. It all starts with structure to begin with. Yeah, tracking these things. But once you start, focusing on these things, it all just becomes habit. It all becomes automatic. And like I say, no one wants to go back to being fat once they get down to 8 to 10% body fat. Because trust me, I've done it and it is pain going back. Yeah, when you start putting on the weight again, you tell yourself you're going to go into this bulking phase and you're eating crazy amounts of food. And then you're just doing this yo-yo effect again. You want to get lean and stay lean. All right, and just chase aesthetics and chase lean tissue. And just look and feel like a machine on a daily basis. Be full of energy and just let this become a lifestyle. Yeah, this isn't for the people that, want to be a bodybuilder. It's not for the people chasing mass. It's not for impatient people that want quick results straight away. This is for people that want this to be a lifestyle. That just want to look fucking good. Sharp for their family, sharp for their girl. And just be operating like a machine, just feeling good, full of energy. Staying lean year round is very, very easy. Once you get there, once you go into that shredding phase, get down to that 8 to 10% body fat range, and then you're just pushing lean tissue all year round, it's going to look good, all right? Because staying lean, it's a standard. It is not a phase. It is not a phase. It is not genetics. Regardless of what anyone tells you, go over onto my Insta, Charlie Crawley Fit. Look at what I used to look like. Yeah, I used to think it was genetics all the time. But you want to chase aesthetics. You want to look good year round. And if you're just sick and tired of looking at your body and you're not happy with it, you can fix it. You just need to put the right systems in place to begin with. You need a strategy to begin with. And once you build that strategy into your life, it just becomes habit. It becomes automatic, and it's so easy to maintain. All right, so like I say, if you have any questions, drop me a message on my Insta. I will get back to you, and I'll see you in the next video.